Welcome back to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C. And today, I'm switching up the sport. It is golf. Yeah, I like almost all sports. And I'm not going to tell you the sports that I don't like, but you'll know it when I don't do any shows about it because I don't really care. You know what I mean? So, today, golf. Is Phil Mickelson top 5 all-time golfer? Is he a top 5 all-time golfer? I don't know. There's an argument to be made. So let's get into it. Without further ado, Phil Mickelson's resume. Now, the big knock against him, right? I'm just going to start with a no, is he's never been number one in the world. There are a whole list of golfers that have less accomplishments in their careers than Phil Mickelson, but they've been number one. First one to come to mind, right? Luke Donald. Never won a major, but he's been number one. He's been number one for like more than a year. It's like 56 weeks or something. What do you do with that? How would you judge the career accomplishments of Phil Mickelson versus Luke Donald? Luke Donald's been number one, but he's never won a major. Phil Mickelson's never been number one, but he's won 5 majors. Luke Donald has half the career wins as Phil Mickelson. Obviously, Phil Mickelson's a better golfer, better player, done better in bigger tournaments, done better for a number of tournaments for a longer period of time. It's not even close. So why would number one ranking have anything to do with all-time greatness? That's my point. It's a huge knock on Phil Mickelson in the media circles and maybe in the professional golf circles. I don't know. I do not know any professional golfers personally, but I would love to poll the young guns, the guys that are at the top of the game now, the Justin Thomases, the Jordan Spieths, the Brooks Koepkas, the Dustin Johnsons, the Webb Simpsons. As a matter of fact, I live in golf country here in North Carolina. So I've got a hope that some of these golfers, maybe we can play some, tee it up here, practice for the 2024 U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2 as I live in that area. So, if this goes viral, you know what I mean? Let's tee it up, guys. Get a little practice in 4 years. 4 years early for the U.S. Open here in Pinehurst. Well, the list of players that have been number one but have less career accomplishments and less majors than Phil Mickelson is this. It's not exhaustive, but this is a good start. I already said Luke Donald, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Justin Rose. Who else? Not really sure. That's a pretty good list of people that have been number one that knocked that off the list. Phil can't knock it off the list, but can't match Phil's career accomplishments. Now, a lot of those guys are still in their 20s, early 30s. They have a decade or so to add to their career list of accomplishments. And in 10 years, I'll have no problem moving them above Phil and above anybody else on the career rankings if they have a phenomenal next 10 years. So now that the big issue is out of the way with Phil, never been number one, where does he rank all time in wins? 44 wins, ranks him number 9 all time. One behind number 8. So if he gets one more win, he'll be number 8, which still doesn't get him into the top 5 of wins. He's actually like 20 wins away from the top 5. He's a long way. He's like 50% of his total win total away from being top 5 in wins. There's a lot of wins to be had, and he's not going to get up in top 5 in wins. But when you played in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s, his 30-year career has been his competition has been the strongest all time. I mean, you look at the players all time and you go, okay, Tiger Woods the best golfer that's ever lived, and that was Phil's main rival. And then when Tiger wasn't playing as well, you had some guys, VJ, you had Mark O'Meara win a couple, you had Padraig Harrington, Ernie Els, David Duval there until he lost his mind. You had some really good golfers that struggled to. I mean, nobody could really match Tiger Woods. I mean, Phil's early success, he was still playing with guys like Greg Norman all time. It's Payne Stewart, Pinehurst number 2. Phil, if you're out there and you ever see this and you want to come to Pinehurst and you want to play, you don't need me. I get it. But it would be a blast. I'll pay for your round. Actually, Pinehurst probably pays for your round. But we could just say I did. You know what I mean? And yeah, so you talk about number of wins, but you talk about the depth of the competition that Phil has been playing against. Not only Tiger and the greats, but just throughout, from 1 to 100. There weren't that many golfers that were that good back in the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, So then you look at majors, total majors. Phil Mickelson has 5. He should have way more. But the reason why I love Phil Mickelson is he didn't play it safe. He said, hey, I'm going to go for it. I know I can make this shot. I may only make it 20% of the time, but I know I can do it, so why not try it? It's how I play. I'm looking at a hole right now, right out of my backyard. I go for broke every time. Doesn't mean I make a birdie every time, but you know what? Like, I know I can birdie this hole. What? I mean, just go for it, man. I love that about Phil. And when it worked out in the Masters, it's nothing better. Nothing better. My hope is that Phil wins the U.S. Open at some point in the next 4 years. I would love for it to be at Pinehurst, number 2, in 2024. He'd be by far the oldest major winner ever. But that would be just a sweet circle, coming back full circle. If he wins a career Grand Slam, I think it's a slam dunk. He's top 5 all time. I'm arguing for it because I think the competition that Phil has played, the time that Phil has played, I don't think his total number of wins and his total number of major victories, I don't think you can compare those to prior eras in golf, because I just don't think the competition was as high, was as deep. And if he didn't have to play against Tiger Woods, much less, a handful of other players, who knows what Phil's record would have been? Who knows how many wins he would have had? Who knows how many majors he would have had? You can always argue the opposite, that he just shot from the hip so much that he screwed himself over in a number of wins, and I don't disagree with that. But how far ahead of the pack would he be if he didn't have Tiger Woods and other guys chasing? I will say this. I don't think it's up for debate that that Phil Mickelson had the best short game, or has had the best short game of all time. No question. Phil Mickelson has made me go out and work on a flop shot. I love watching him around the greens. Just full swing from 2 feet away, boop, in the hole. What? Love it. It's unbelievable. Tiger wouldn't do that because Tiger would try to find a more cerebral approach, or a more straightforward or whatever. Tiger would just get it done, and Tiger was great. He was the greatest golfer of all time. But Phil's the most fun golfer of all time. I don't think that's up for debate at all. Phil he has always been a joyride. Following him, watching him. I mean, you get the ups and the downs, and I've had a lot of downs watching him and pulling for him. But without a doubt, he's the most fun golfer to watch. And, That's what I like to say. I'm a scrambler as well. He's just way better at it than me. So I don't want this video to run too long, but what I'll say is I'm gonna list my top 5. I'm gonna throw in a bonus for a top 6 golfers of all time. Tiger Woods, bar none, number one, best golfer of all time. It's not, you can't argue it. Jack has more major championships, but I don't think that matters. Tiger's probably going to get 1 or 2 more. He's going to close the gap on Jack, and with that, he's going to have the most wins all time. And like I said with Phil earlier in this video, the depth of the competition is way better nowadays. The golf courses are Tiger-proof. Tiger has totally changed the game. Tiger, bar none, number 1. Jack Nicklaus, bar none, number 2. That's not arguable either. Like, none of this is, like, that's set in stone. I don't think anybody would argue Tiger was number 1, Jack Nicklaus number 2. After that, I'm fascinated to know what other people think. Here's what I'm going to say. 3, Sam Snead. 4, Ben Hogan. 5, Phil Mickelson. 6, my bonus, Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer has better stats. He has 18 more wins and I think 2 more majors. I think that's what it is. I think he has 7 majors to Phil's 5. He has a better resume, but it's not against as good a competition, as deep a competition, as deep a field as they play in the PGA today. And the worldwide players all over that come and play, I don't think it's comparable. Phil has been second a record number of times. Phil is so close. He has, and I know second doesn't count in terms of like the total, but it does count. Let's be honest. If he was second to a much deeper field, that's better than beating a weaker field. It just is. Nobody cares if you're the top player in Little League. You're not a better team than the loser of the Super Bowl, right? Let's be honest. If I'm playing Pee Wee football and I'm the king of Pee Wee football, that doesn't mean I can beat the second place team in the NFL. That's silly. It's an extreme example, but the level of golf and I know the wood clubs and the technology of the golf ball, but I don't care who you are. Even if you're hitting a 9-iron, 180 yards, the fraction, here you go, over here, the fraction of a degree off that you have to be to make that ball go way far off line for 180 yards versus 100 yards is like double, right? So even if you're hitting it longer, you still have to be straight. And if you're hitting it longer, your degree of miss is so much smaller for the longer that you hit it. Now, I know that you say clubs are more forgiving, they have a larger sweet spot, but that doesn't mean that it just makes the game easier. And you can tell that because people aren't shooting 48s. People aren't shooting 55s, 52s. No, it's amazing when people shoot 60, 61, 59. It's still amazing. These courses have totally grown up to combat the technology, and there's so many more people that are focused solely on playing golf. Their whole jobs, their whole lives are committed to playing golf at the best level they possibly can. Millions of dollars are dumped into them, and they can't break, 65 on a regular basis. So I have to discount earlier eras of golf. And I think if Phil were to go back in that day and age, I think he would dominate those guys. I think he would beat them consistently, and he'd have a better career than the guys before him. I just do. So let me know what you think. I know that's a hot topic for debate. Phil, some people don't even put him in the top 10, but he's a personal favorite of mine. I love watching him play. I love people going for broke. I mean, why not, right? You're playing a sport for a living. I think he has a good personality just to say, hey, to hell with it. I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna grip it. I'm gonna rip it. He's not quite John Daly. John Daly maybe takes that a little bit too far, but let me know what you think. Top 5 all time. Is Phil Mickelson top 5 all time? Who's your top 5 all time on the PGA Tour? Thanks for watching another episode of the House Husband Diaries. Until tomorrow, have a great day. Thanks so much.